Welcome to All to Everything, a podcast about analytics and data science culture. I'm Stephanie Mills, and I'll be your host for this episode. I'm a strategic customer marketing manager at Alteryx, and I'm fascinated by how technology enables our customers to do more and be more. Every year, Alteryx hosts the Excellence Awards to celebrate analytic breakthroughs. For this episode, I sat down with Andy Bate, Head of Analytics at Brookson Group. Andy and his team at Brookson won the Accelerator Award, granted for excellence in scaling and integrating Alteryx. We talked about the use case itself, what it felt like to learn they won an Excellence Award, and why the Alteryx community was vital to their success. Let's get started. So firstly, Andrew, congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very, very giddy.
I bet. And it was incredibly well-deserved as well. So Andrew, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, in terms of Alteryx, I've been using Alteryx since 2016. I originally came from a business background that had an absolute obsession with solving puzzles, not puddles. Let's go off to a great start there. It then grew and grew and grew, and Alteryx became the platform of choice within Brookson for me, and the rest is history on that one. In terms of me and myself, it's the same outside of it. I am obsessed with trying to figure out solutions in everyday life, so there's always something to fix, there's always something to make better. And my wife loves giving me lists to be able to complete on a daily basis to make sure everything is okay.
Brilliant. And obviously, you head up a team. And so tell us, what did it feel like to learn that you'd won an Excellence Award, and how did it feel for your team?
So what did it feel like? Well, I read the email at midnight. So needless to say, I didn't sleep that much that night.
Oh no.
And my wife wasn't too impressed. We have a 1-year-old, so the 1-year-old decided to get up for a feed, and it was a perfect opportunity to tell my wife that we've won the award. She didn't care at 3 a.m, I've got to be honest. But I was absolutely over the moon. It was a real privilege. We've done an awful lot with Alteryx at Brookson. We've built a real good foundation and an absolutely fantastic team. And the one thing I really will be saying on this is that every single one of them had a cog to play with in this one.
Yeah.
And they executed that brilliantly. And when they found out, especially Charlotte, that you've spoke to Charlotte, and she's one of the innovators at Alteryx, and needless to say, I recorded that view of when I showed her the email and the picture, just to say, by the way, this is on its way, and it's behind me. By the way, we've received it. The award is here.
Oh, fantastic!
It's journey behind me. It's absolutely. Yeah, this is. As an awards go, this is right up there with one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is. It's so cool. And are you going to be sharing that around the team then, or are you just going to keep it at your place?
So Charlotte actually lives around the corner from me. So it's like within, as soon as I said the parcel had arrived with the big Alteryx logo on it, she was almost up and sprinting round to come and see us to open it. But it'll go around teams, and then when this whole global situation that we are in, and we're all back into the office, we'll find a nice home for everyone to stare and wonder how the hell that ball bearing is being worked, because it's just pure wizardry and magic right now.
I totally agree. It does look very, very cool.
It's just amazing. I've got to be honest, you could probably tell in my voice, I'm still in the very excited mode of having it, of changing colours and building my own patterns and going over. My productivity has plummeted since this thing came out.
Yeah, that is probably an issue, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not one of these that you'll just get over in 10 minutes, trust me. I will be there for days. Just rolling away, it's amazing.
I love that. Well, I mean, moving on from the award and what it looks like itself, the actual trophy, let's find out about your award-winning use case then. So firstly, what prompted you to implement a new process?
That's our bread and butter within Brookson. We are always, a lot of Alteryx in the early days was concentrating on the predictive analytics and the data science that Alteryx was able to give. We were actually doing APA right from the start in 2016. So that has not been anything different in terms of trying to change a process. What really got the snowball effect was the new add-on of the Alteryx Intelligence Suite. That's when it was just another bottle and game changer that Alteryx is bringing. That was able, it's not just a connectivity to a new environment, brilliant, we can bring that data in and automate those processes. All the ecosystems and the digital environments that we're able to use Alteryx for, great. One of our biggest blockers was being able to OCR elements. And we've tried other options which were successful in some ways, but so time intensive, high cost, they never really worked. And because Alteryx has an absolute foundation and a great place within Brookson, we were able to utilize other areas and other teams to use that OCR, and then this business case that we're going to talk about today went to the top. That was the one where, okay, out of all the PDFs that we have to deal with within Brookson, this is the one that has the biggest impact within our organisation.
And for anybody listening that doesn't understand what OCR is as a process, are you able to just give like a brief overview of that?
Optical character recognition. So basically it takes almost an image, whether it's a blob format or whether it's a JPEG or anything, and it was able to recognize characters within that image and then digitize them within a platform. So it can be a scanned document, it can be a computer generated document. A PDF is probably the most common. There is other formats where if it's a Word document, you've probably already got it in a digital format that you can extract that information. Excel is like bread and butter for stuff that we want to process, automate, but PDFs and images are often the ones. So if we get one of the ones that we're currently working on, because trust me, this is not stopping. For anyone out there, we're going for the next trophy. We've got so much more on the pipeline with this.
Love it.
But we receive pictures from some of our clients, whether it's a receipt. So to be able to use the OCR element to extract information from that receipt and automate some of their expenses could be another element that we would be wanting to go in. So that's what OCR does. It takes an image of sorts, recognises characters in there, extracts them so you can utilise it within the data.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And so give us an overview of what the new process entailed then.
So what we have to do, so we have I think it kind of helps if I just give a background of what the problem that we had. So
yes,
in April we had a new legislation change within the UK within the temporary workforce industry, and what that meant was that there was a shift depending on how people were able to get paid, if they were temporary workers or contractors, and they went with one of our channels within Brookson. We received PDF invoices to pay those workers that are on our platform. It was someone's job to go in and manually extract that information and type it in to the system, to then the system would be able to process a payment, and that person would get paid and go on about their day, paying their bills and supporting their family.
Yeah.
Now this legislation change had a risk of significantly changing the volume that went down that track. So suddenly that area, and we have seen it, could increase by 100, 150, 200% in terms of volume. But it's a risk. So changing and recruiting might have been a solution, but if the volume didn't appear, you've suddenly increased your workforce for something that didn't actually happen.
Right.
So we wanted to be proactive, but not so proactive that would actually be detrimental to the business. This is where the OCR element came in. We can automate that PDF extraction coming in. We can automate that extraction of information. No longer did it mean someone typing that information into the system. It went through. All we had to monitor was the validation. So OCR isn't perfect. Or anyone that does get 100% accuracy, please get in contact. I want to know exactly how you do that. Because in any sort of figures, especially if you've got a UK pence, the decimal point might not be picked up. So suddenly it goes from £5 per hour, although that's a very low charge, probably not the best example, to £500 per hour, which everyone would be very happy with. But that's not entirely accurate. So that's what the only manual element that we need to do now. So it went from them having to manually enter every single bit of information within the system to then using Alteryx to be able to remove that manual element. If it's completely accurate and no problem, great, nice and smooth all the way to payment. But if there's something where we go, we just want to double check this for validation purposes and make sure we're getting that payment right for the customer, then it will go into the queue. So we can suddenly open the gates for volume without actually increasing our headcount and operational costs.
That's fantastic. And you've mentioned the customer so many times, so it's always at the forefront of your mind, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like making it a better experience for them.
Yeah, it's a prime for Brookson. We are a very, very customer driven organisation. To give them the best platform, the temporary workforce industry can be a minefield at the best of times.
Yeah.
And there's so many different avenues, there's so many different ways and different information that we really try and focus on giving the customer the best experience. Because then it's their pay. No one wants their pay being messed with.
No.
We're all very lucky if you're in a full-time employment that at the end of the month or whatever the pay period you've got, you get paid 99% of the time it's right, you can go about your day. Temporary world, you have to submit your own timesheet, you have to get different accountants depending on what route you have to go down. That can be a stressful thing at the best of times, especially during a global pandemic. So we want to make sure that we're getting it right and they can just concentrate on what they need to do with their life.
And I love that that empathy and that real world view that you bring, because often it's hard to link the technology aspect and the processes that are all happening with the actual people that it's affecting, like on the front end, and not just the user of the technology in between as well. But this story covers all of that, which is amazing. And, on the subject of technology, what other technologies are now part of this process and what are they enabling as well?
So we also have an API link to Twilio, which is kind of like a communications platform, and we utilize it for WhatsApp. So as soon as we have processed the remittance and the timesheet for that worker, we could then load it into the system more efficiently and quicker. Therefore, we can actually notify the person that they're getting paid. No longer do they have to wait within a certain time period or up to 8 o'clock on a Friday evening just to see if the system is updated enough, because we could have calls coming in, delays, missed typing entries on the manual work. Because of all that, they could get that text or that notification on a Thursday morning, just to let you know the money's arrived, the payslip's there, you will get paid tomorrow, no problem. Once again, they concentrate on what they need to concentrate on.
Yeah, and on their phone as well, in their pocket kind of thing.
The speed of what life is increasing, and instant gratification in terms of information to be given is also increasing. So being able to just get a quick WhatsApp notification from a trusted source to turn around and say, all your timesheets that you've submitted has been processed, the payment's there, we've received the money from the end client or the agency or whatever channel that went through, have a great weekend.
Yeah.
That's it. It's done and it's happy. And we also are able to send using that platform, which is a little bit outside of this. But if we receive the money and the timesheet hasn't been processed, we'll inform them. Just say we've received the money. We're just waiting for the timesheet to go through. Or the timesheet's been entered, we're just waiting on the money from the end client or the agency. So they're constantly getting that feedback to allow them not to work. But it also it helps Brookson. We don't need customers ringing up just to see where their payments are. That takes time away from dealing with genuine queries of, and I've got a change in tax code. Can we process this so I'm not going to be taxed at the wrong rate? Or, we have someone that's got their own limited company that are trying to apply for a mortgage or something. That call space of someone just ringing up saying, where's my money, disappears to concentrate on people that are going, right, I've got a situation, you're my accountants or your financial advisors or legal advisors, where do we go from here? So it's a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so you've spoke about obviously the customer and the users. And for you personally, what is the standout impact that you've achieved from this process, Andy?
Great question. The standard is the velocity, I would say. So we've been doing process automation, we've been doing this sort of stuff for a long time. However, this was a very, very quick process from prototype to production. And that's the standout of this one. This was an absolutely monstrous return of investment in terms of how much we're saving in terms of costs that we can then pass back to the customer. Compared to all of that, that's all the budget and what all our finance team are all nice and happy about. I'm in the tech world, that's not really where I get a bit giddy. But what was the absolute impact was, as a business, we were able to go from prototype to production within 4 months of a brand new technology and process, utilising, like I said at the start, each cog of all different areas, not just within the analytics team, but within IT, within the business areas, the testing of the business areas to go. They had to do all the manual work and then try the automation to do side-by-side testing. That was so efficient and it was so quick. And it was a real testament to how innovation can work at Brookson.
Yeah, absolutely. And you must be, trailblazers in your industry. Have you been able to share this with other companies, and have you had any feedback from outside?
Oh, absolutely. I myself was invited by Gartner to come to Florida to speak at their analytics symposium with Brian Milrine, the director of strategy, and that was talking about a process automation of a compliance reporting that we did for the NHS using Alteryx. So all of it has just been absolutely revolutionary, I would imagine. And every single person, we were very early adopters of Alteryx within the UK, especially the northwest of England. So there was not many people that have heard of it yet. They're certainly hearing of it now. I'm always very conscious that there's new startups and new competition, and I'm like, right, no, you're not taking my team, you can find your own. It's took me 4 or 5 years to build this team. You think you're going to take them away from me? Come knocking. But I'm very proud of my team.
No, I'll bet. And I bet they love working with you as well. You're so enthusiastic.
Oh, I'm quiet compared to them.
Really?
Oh my God. Oh, absolutely. We have one Izzy on our team, and she'll hate the fact that I've just mentioned her, but said it. She, as soon as she's got an idea, that's it, game over. She's built a whole new empire for the platform. We're currently, because we are growing. I don't think one of the great stats that we have at the minute, we have 8,000 Alteryx queues a week.
Wow.
So we're quite a small business in terms of people that use Alteryx, and even then, every time I throw that stat out to some of them, 450 live workflows. So Izzy at the minute is helping us make the support element a lot more efficient through the Alteryx API and the MongoDB. And it was generally just a bit of a crumb of, what about this? What do you think we could do this? Suddenly 10 minutes later she's going, oh, look at this! I've just built all this absolute monstrous process automation and reporting. And yeah, so the enthusiasm when it comes to the team is definitely there.
And do they join, does your team join as, do they have prior knowledge of Alteryx then? Or
No.
are you having to, right, so they're new, and what does that upskilling path look like then?
So in all honesty, Izzy is one of the ones where she had previous experience, but it wasn't from an external company. She came from a department, and she showed, she's mentally intelligent, so she showed great potential using Alteryx, and she was building stuff. So I annoyed that department by going, oh, by the way, she's coming over here.
So you're allowed to do it, but nobody else is.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but it's within Brookson, isn't it? We're helping each other. It's if a different organisation thinks they're going to take my staff, it's a different matter. So no, in terms of the actual training pathway, 100% the community. 100% is to upskill is through that community, and I have absolutely no hesitation of saying like it is 100. It's well deserved that the community got that award. There's no other platform that does it like the Alteryx community, and I'm a huge advocate, and I know I'm known as the Andy Alteryx at Brookson, and as soon as someone mentions Alteryx, they mention Andy or something like that, but there's a genuine reason. There's a world of expertise out there. There's so much knowledge. I've been doing this since 2016. I'm still learning. The weekly challenges, amazing. You go in and you do something, you go, I've absolutely nailed that. That is the best challenge I've ever done. You submit it and someone's done it in 2 tools and you're like, how have you done that? I didn't even think of doing it that way. And that's exactly what the training I try and do, is to give them very, very small basics. And I've built, with the help of others as well, so it's a royal high, we built Brookson bespoke weekly challenges. So it uses Brookson data, but they have to parse it, transform it, summarise it into an output that we already show. But it gives them then that business knowledge of building it up. And that seems to have worked up to now. And I'm also a huge advocate of you get thrown into the deep end. There's no point of sitting around and showing spreadsheets and PowerPoints and how to use it. Get your hands on, get dirty when it comes to the application. You will make mistakes. That's not a problem. We're not afraid of mistakes. I make plenty daily. I've turned off my phone system. No one's interrupting this. This is my nice little break to ring up going, Andy, do you not realise you've just done this? So we're a huge advocate of you learn from that mistakes, you own up to that mistakes, and you move forward. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the platform is dead easy. It's like this, yes, you can do so much complicated stuff. And yes, there is loads that could go wrong if you accidentally pull in an input tool and do a select all on a billion row table. But it's the rewards compared to that risk are just sky high. And this has been an absolute tool for innovation within Brookson, and the outreaches as well.
Absolutely. And so, talking about this particular use case then, because you mentioned some really impressive ROI statistics. I mean, can you share any more details on those?
Yeah, I could give the high level. So in terms of our top 25 agencies that we receive these remittances from, based on the volume that we get on an annual basis, the average cost was around £5.50 UK sterling to process per timesheet. Now, a PDF could have up to 50 timesheets on there. Now, this is all salary, this is systems, this is licensing, this is the whole cost of that area and for that process. And it could take someone up to 15 minutes to enter a timesheet, depending on the complexity, the validation, any sort of items like that. So submitting our top 3 into the analytical process automation through OCR, this whole package that we've built, reduced that from £5.50 to £4.90 just by the top 3 per timesheet. Now, again, if I give calculations of volume of that, then you'll be able to know how much money on an annual basis that Brookson would be saving. Just a little bit conscious of giving too much details away.
Yeah, of course.
But ultimately, that is a significant amount. Then we moved from, I think the example that I will be talking about in Inspire, we moved then 13 to the process automation, and it went down to like £2.60 from £5.50, like per timesheet. This isn't like per day or per hour, this is per timesheet. We could anything between, depending on a Christmas period to a very, very busy period, go between 4,000 to 10,000 timesheets. This is a significant cost. And then ultimately, once all 25 were over, we estimated it'd be around 50p per timesheet, a saving of £5 per timesheet.
Whoa, yeah.
And that 50p was more on validation. So the ones that don't always go 100% accuracy, now we want to double check and make sure that we're paying the customer right, they still go into a queue for someone to just validate. And again, even that time of validation, most of the information has already been made digital, so they know the person's name, they know the agency, they know the end client, they know the rate. More often the case is the rate misses a decimal point. That's it. That's normally what the validation is, and it's very, very quickly. And what Alteryx allows us to do is, because of all the different tools that you're able to utilize, they don't have to go and figure it out. We tell them exactly what the area is that we think we're not sure about this. By the way, go to this PDF and it's line 10. That's where this correlates to. So they're not trying to figure it out. They're just going, yeah, you missed a decimal point. Here's the Excel, the output. It's already done for them. I'll just add that decimal point back in, upload, done. Wow. So the validation is still significantly quicker compared to what they would have had to do before.
Yeah, and I mean, just thinking about the relief of the feeling of not having, like you say, to take away this whole manual element, which is huge.
Yeah, they can, once again, concentrate on the customer, concentrate on the areas that are no longer... So there's a great quote that I got from Gartner, is to automate the mundane to promote the creative. So this isn't something that is causing grief, this is just manual. To remove that just manual, then they can concentrate on stuff that are high concern. So we've got someone that they weren't able to join as quickly as we thought, but we've got money in for them. We need to get them joined nice and quickly so we can get them paid quickly. That takes a lot of attention, but they can't concentrate on that attention if they have to enter a load of items manually. So there's often the case that that person might miss that payment run that week because we weren't able to join them up, because we didn't have the resource to be able to do that. That's disappearing. We can now concentrate, get them on board, and then they turn around and go, this is great. This is a service that I want to be in.
Yeah, and you know, as someone working in analytics as well, you know, if you can move forward, upskill quickly, be creative, like you say, fail fast, learn fast, ask questions, like that must absolutely skyrocket your career path, really.
My career path has been, yes, the skyrocket is an absolute understatement of that. It would be a surprise to a lot of people that in 2015 I was a manager of a gym. I hated data and analytics.
No, hang on.
There's an absolute curveball. Now, have you got a podcast that's going to last long enough for this?
But seriously though.
Seriously.
So what, 6 years?
So again, going back to my accidental puddle mishap at the start, it was I am obsessed with solving process puzzles, making efficiencies. And then what that was, and that's when I decided to make a career move away from the health industry, which I was doing that as from a management point of view, and I joined Brookson in their medical department to try and automate some of the processes and help the NHS that Brookson was doing at the time. So it wasn't just doing it from some corporation to make them more money. There was a genuine goal of helping people, which I have a long history of doing that, working in gyms, trying to make people a healthier lifestyle. And it was at that point that I taught myself VBA. I taught myself how to process automate using that, and Brookson started utilising that skill. And that's when Brian came knocking with Alteryx and was like, just to let you know, maybe try this. And the rest is history.
That is absolutely incredible.
It used to be the key joke Brian used to say when he used to do talks with Gartner or anything, is that the guy that's leading his analytics team used to be a personal trainer and gym manager. And now he heads up data and analytics, and now I am obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. It's
brought a lot of like real world experience and real world thinking, and I think that's a lot, of why you think about the customer, the person who's getting paid right at the end of the process, which is very, very cool.
It's a new channel. That's the one thing that Alteryx was able to do. You're opening doors to people that didn't have traditional analytics route to their career, but they have natural analytical minds. And that's where the difference comes in. And that's what I absolutely adore Alteryx for, was being able to open that door. I categorically will admit I would not be here in this position with Brookson if it weren't for Alteryx. That's a statement within itself, and I will stand by that. Now, yes, I have learned a lot more since then.
Yeah.
I'm currently doing my master's degree in digital innovation. That would never have happened if it weren't for the door of what Alteryx was able to give.
That's very, very cool. And, staying on that theme and kind of closing out here as well, Andy. So do you have any tips for folks who are looking to take their insights to the next level of analytics insights? Or analytics excellence, rather?
Any tips to... I firmly believe to get involved with the community. If you're going to upskill with Alteryx, then there's people out there that are posting problems, blockers, ideas that they can't get their head around. And again, the best idea wins. There could be some absolute world-class data scientist out there that is used on Alteryx. They'll have a problem that someone that has just started will be able to think, well, have you tried this? And that, no disrespect to anyone, but that's great. So go into that community, go and do the week of challenges, have a go. And the one great thing is that you can see other people's work, you can see how they did it and learn from them and go from that. Find something within the business. One thing that the team have all done, they've taken the initiative. They've found problem areas. They've not waited for them to come along. They've gone out and gone, right, okay, yes, I've got my day-to-day task, but I know I can do my day-to-day task better. So I'm going to try it this way. And like you said, fail fast. Some's great, some didn't work, but that was the whole point. And it's that constant iteration of knowledge that you should be able to give yourself, and not worry if you get something wrong. It's literally you're learning. Like the whole famous, there's a thousand ways how not to make a light bulb, but they only had to figure out one, and then the rest is history, and that's exactly the same.
Thanks for listening. We're opening up another round of Excellence Awards in the fall of 2021. So if you have a use case you'd like to share, stay tuned in the community and follow our social media channels for announcements. In the meantime, check out the other winners and their stories on our input blog and on the Alteryx use case page. See you soon. Good. And I learned a lot. I mean, my goodness, I didn't know that, your massive career change and stuff like that.
Yeah, I try.
Incredible.
Yeah, I try. If my members saw me now compared to what I was when I was a PT and a gym manager, they'd probably turn around and go, "Yeah, you've definitely gone on the data diet of not eating." Oh, good God! If I go back in time when I saw myself now, I'd be giving myself a lecture. It's like, right, okay.
Absolutely. I just think that's amazing. There's more, probably 5 or 10 podcasts you could get out of some of your stories. I'm sure.
I probably should have mentioned it, but Helen on our team, who's one of our best analysts in terms of mapping out process and business analytics, her career is fashion. She's come from fashion. We can get someone doing their core exam within 3 months, and that's something that we're quite passionate about, and it's one thing that we really, really try and push for.
Yeah, well, you can tell. The passion comes through.
Yeah, I told you I'm a little bit giddy when it comes to this sort of stuff.